The other podium stayed empty. Cameras were waiting in the rose garden. The podiums were set. The pens were ready. Donald Trump was prepared to announce what he believed would be another victory, another moment where Canada, under pressure, would bend. But the other podium stayed empty. Mark Carney didn't show up. He didn't sign the paper. He didn't offer a counter-proposal. He didn't play the game. Instead, he boarded a plane, flew back to Ottawa, and issued a statement that may change the price of the car in your driveway, the food in your fridge, and the future of millions of jobs across the continent. Trump thought he had Canada cornered. He thought he had all the leverage. Carney didn't blink. And now the consequences are spreading faster than anyone in the White House can contain. This wasn't some minor dispute over dairy quotas or lumber shipments. This was the 6-year mandatory review of the USMCA, the massive trade agreement that replaced NAFTA and governs roughly $700 billion in annual trade flows. It keeps auto plants running in Michigan and Ontario. It keeps energy moving into New York. It keeps grocery shelves stocked in California. Economists believed the review would be routine because the integration is too deep to unravel. They were wrong. According to leaks from inside the negotiation team, Trump walked into the final meeting with a demand that crossed a line. A sunset clause that would allow the United States to cancel the deal unilaterally every single year. A trade agreement held hostage, renewed only if Canada stayed obedient. He gave Carney an ultimatum. Sign by noon or face a universal 25% tariff on every Canadian product starting Monday. Mark Carney isn't a contractor. He's a central banker who spent decades in rooms where power is measured in capital flows, not slogans. And Carney understands something Trump forgot. You cannot bully the country that supplies your energy, builds your industrial inputs, and sits at the center of your manufacturing ecosystem. His response wasn't a tweet. It was silence. He left the White House. At 10 p.m., Ottawa sent a notification. Canada is formally withdrawing from the review process. The framework that held North America together is collapsing in real time. Some viewers may think this is politics. They'll pack it up next week. But look at the evidence. First, the leaked Red Line memo demanded total access to Canada's Arctic waters, dismantling dairy supply management within 30 days, and threatened Section 232 actions against Canadian aluminum. This wasn't negotiation. It was surrender terms. Second, the markets. The Canadian dollar ticked upward. Investors are betting against Trump. They know Canada has spent 2 years securing critical mineral deals with Germany, Japan, and South Korea. When Wall Street trusts Ottawa more than Washington, the world has flipped. Third, the border. Trucks slowing, inspections intensifying at the Ambassador Bridge. Canada isn't scrambling. They're diverting shipments toward Europe and Asia. This looks less like panic and more like preparation. So why is this happening? Why would Donald Trump risk detonating a $700 billion trade relationship that has anchored North American prosperity for decades? It comes down to control. Trump operates on a simple model, one that belongs to an older era. He believes that because the United States economy is larger, the United States always wins. He believes pain only flows in one direction. If he puts tariffs on you, you suffer, and he collects the victory. But the world has changed since 2016, and Trump hasn't caught up. Because modern trade is not a scoreboard. It is a machine. A supply chain web so dense that if you pull one thread, you don't just hurt your opponent, you strangle yourself. Take the auto industry. A single car part crosses the US-Canada border 7 times before the final vehicle rolls off the line. 7 times. Engines, transmissions, electronics, aluminum frames, all moving back and forth in a choreography that depends on speed and trust. If you slow that border down even slightly, you don't punish Canada. You shut down assembly lines in Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky. And that is why right now executives in Detroit are flooding the White House with calls. They are warning Trump that if this collapse lasts even a week, tens of thousands of American workers could be furloughed. Plants don't adjust overnight. They stop. Trump thinks he's punishing Carney, but he is pulling a lever attached to his own economy. And now he is trapped. If he backs down, he looks weak. He looks like Carney called his bluff. If he doubles down and closes the border tighter, he risks triggering an economic shock that spreads through manufacturing, agriculture, and energy. The deeper problem is that Trump is fighting a trade war from the 1980s. He thinks this is about steel and lumber. He doesn't understand that this is about energy, minerals, and the infrastructure of modern life. Canada supplies more than half of the oil the United States imports. Heavy crude, the kind U.S. refineries are built to process. If Ottawa restricts flows or adds export taxes, gas prices spike overnight in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. America First does not work when the cost of fuel becomes the punishment. And Carney knows that. This is where the contrast matters. If Justin Trudeau were still in charge, the response might have been emotional speeches about friendship, appeals to history, diplomatic apologies. Carney is different. He is a former central banker. He ran the Bank of Canada. He ran the Bank of England. He has spent his career looking at power not as theater, but as systems. He doesn't yell. He calculates. And what Carney is executing right now is something experts call strategic decoupling, the idea that Canada cannot afford to remain permanently dependent on a partner that has become unpredictable. Carney knew this moment would come. He knew Trump would eventually try to weaponize trade. So for the last 2 years, Canada has been quietly building a safety net. Critical mineral security agreements with Europe, long-term energy partnerships with Japan, expanded Indo-Pacific trade routes. Canada positioning itself not as America's supplier, but as a global resource superpower. Because the world is starving for uranium, potash, fresh water, rare earths. Canada has them. The United States needs them. And by walking away from Trump's ultimatum, Carney is sending a message to global markets. Canada is open for business, but the price just went up. It is a high-stakes gamble. And make no mistake, Canada will feel pain if the border tightens. There is no denying the interdependence. But Carney is betting the United States will feel more. Because American consumers are not insulated from this. If USMCA collapses, the era of cheap goods in North America ends. Grocery bills rise. Fertilizer imports from Canada become more expensive. Housing costs surge as lumber prices climb. Aluminum inputs for phones and EVs spike. This is an inflation shock waiting to happen, one that could make 2022 look mild. And beyond economics, there is something darker unfolding. The American umbrella is closing. For 70 years, the deal was simple. The U.S. protects the free world, and in return, it writes the rules. But if the U.S. cannot even maintain a trade agreement with Canada, its closest ally, then who trusts Washington? Not Japan, not the UK, not Mexico, not Europe. Carney understands this. He is preparing Canada for a world where America is no longer the anchor, but an island. And today, history captured the moment perfectly. As Carney was leaving the White House, a Fox News reporter shouted, "Mr. Prime Minister, are you worried about the president's wrath?" Carney stopped. He didn't smile. He didn't get angry. He simply said, "You can't tariff gravity, and you can't sanction geography. We aren't going anywhere, but we aren't taking orders anymore." Then he got in the car. That is the difference. One man wants applause. The other man knows he holds the map. So where does this go now? 3 scenarios are forming. Scenario A, Wall Street panics. Trump calls Carney back. They sign a temporary extension. Scenario B. Trump follows through with 25% tariffs. Monday. Canada retaliates with precision, targeting bourbon, Harley-Davidsons, swing state manufacturing inputs. The border slows, auto plants idle, markets dip. Trump is emotional escalation. Carney is strategic attrition. Scenario C. Full breakup. Trump declares national emergency, freezes assets. Carney redirects energy exports, restricts critical minerals, accelerates trade toward Europe and Asia. USMCA dissolves. North America becomes two rival economic zones. This is closer than anyone wants to admit. This is not just about trade policy. This is about the future shape of globalization. For decades, North America functioned as a single integrated platform. If that assumption dies, everything changes. Corporations will rethink where they build. Ordinary people will feel it in prices. A more expensive car, home, grocery cart. And beyond economics is the geopolitical signal. Trump's move tells the world that even America's closest alliance is transactional. That pushes allies elsewhere. It creates openings for China, for Europe, for new blocs. Canada is resource-rich, energy-rich, mineral-rich, water-rich. In the coming decades, those are the currencies of power. And Carney is betting that geography, not rhetoric, wins. This is why his closing line matters so much. You can't tariff gravity, and you can't sanction geography. It is not just a quote. It is a doctrine. Canada cannot move. The United States cannot replace Canada easily. Pipelines cannot be rebuilt overnight. Supply chains cannot be rerouted instantly. Factories cannot teleport. Trump is trying to fight physics with tariffs. Carney is fighting with reality. And now, the continent is holding its breath. Because this is a poker game with the highest stakes imaginable. Trump went all in on a bluff. Carney called it. And now we are all waiting to see the cards. The next market open will be chaos. The next political statement could decide whether this becomes a temporary crisis or the end of an era. So the real question is not just whether Mark Carney is protecting Canada, or whether Trump is overplaying his hand. The real question is whether North America is about to enter a new age, one defined not by partnership, but by rivalry. History is moving fast, and this may be the week the old North American order finally breaks.